Well, good evening everyone, and the F-14 Tomcat is back after a 10-year absence. Now it is back because there has been a little tiff at the United Nations between Madagascar and the French, Macron, and I've done a whole what if story on the backstory of the Rafale, but the Rafales are going to, some are going to India, some are going to Ukraine via a complicated scheme where the EU is borrowing money on Russian interest, and then they're sending the Rafales to France to eventually end up in Ukraine. It's very long-winded. But anyway, the Malagasys have realised that, of course, the Tomcat in its upgraded format offers something that the Rafale just cannot offer, and that is beyond visual range dominance, super cruise, which is cruising basically above Mach 1 without using afterburners, and it's offering commonality with the other apex predator in the Malagasy forces, which is of course the F-44.5 Mantella, and these two aircraft have something very similar in their rear ends, which is the F119 engine, one of the best engines out there. Now, the Tomcats do not operate on their own, they operate as part of a team, and we have some of the top team here. And there's another similarity between the F-22 export derivative, the F-44.5, and the Tomcat, and that's not just the Dulux or Trade Point stealth paint, which here I've done it in an airbrush scheme of Vallejo aggressor grey base with an ocean grey light misting on the top, and then using light USN light ghost grey for the edges, and then dull gold grey, dark gold grey for the nose radome even. They both have canted fins. Obviously the F-22 has slightly more cant, but there are some radar cross-section reductions, so no pitot tube on the nose here. This is the Hobbyboss kit. No external pitots, they're using the new system as per the B2. And underneath it has a conformal weapons bay. Now, one of the big things which gives drag is having all your missiles externally, and the idea of this new Hyper Tomcat F-14DX is that the missiles are stored internally. So we have an F-35 style EOTS at the front. We have wide missile warning alert sensors all over this, countermeasures, and the countermeasures at the back of the pod include towed decoy arrays, ANALE 55, the chaff and flare dispensers, and a boosted chaff and flare dispenser system tucked away in the rear, missile alert warning systems. But the big purpose of these bays is to carry either two AIM 174B gunslinger missiles, either two of those for beyond visual range combat, so those are used to target the enemy AWACS, enemy command aircraft. This is designed to go and be a rival to Chinese top tier carrier groups, and the full write-up is on my posts if you want to see the detail there. So it can carry up to two of these AIM 174s internally without the drag penalty, which allows it a super cruise at between Mach 1.3 and 1.6, which is pretty fast, and that's given by the F119 engines. Or it can have three AIM 120Ds in the other bay and one AIM 174, or it could have one AIM 174 and two Meteors. The Meteor's bigger and it doesn't integrate as easily as the AIM 120D in the side bay there, or it could have four Meteors, and it always generally carries two AIM 9Xs at the rear. You've still got the option for the external store station with another two AIM 9Xs, and it could carry maybe six AIM 120Ds internally, or three AIM 120Ds, one AIM-174 and 2 meteors externally. So lots of options, but really a BVR, beyond visual range, focus this aircraft. Can it turn and burn? Of course it can. It's a Tomcat. Is it a manoeuvre fighter like the Euro flop Typhoon? I've basically been developing these projects through AI, and its main rivals within visual range combat would be the Euroflop Typhoon and of course the Rafale, which I'm getting rid of, but they are superb dogfighting aircraft. So the idea of this, and the Hobbyboss kit does have a slight deficiency on the wing mechanism, but it's very easy to get them back into sync. You just pull them over each other and there you go, it's back into sync. But the main rivals to this aircraft in terms of performance would be the J16 beyond visual range, and within visual range you're looking at the Su-30, still quite a manoeuvrable aircraft, and the Rafale and the Euroflop Typhoon. So how does this work as a team? Well, with the conformal weapons bay, this protects the Malagasy 80,000 ton Whatif carrier at long range, 12 on the carrier at any one time, maximum fleet size of 36 coming back into service, fully upgraded with fly-by-wire controls, the latest digital everything. Again, those powerful engines, and I've done them with the ceramic coating there on the inside of the engine exhausts. Picked out some of the sensors. This is the Thick Shark Squadron, first to operate these new Tomcats. Done them with 2 Hasegawa crew figures, but the Tomcat operates as part of a team. It always has and always will. Same with the Mantellas, they are very much a team aircraft. Infrared search and track there on the front, same as with the Mantella. But the Tomcat works as a team in carrier operations, receiving feeds from the E2D Hawkeye, which give it the situational awareness, the picture, the bigger picture. And the idea is that it pushes the enemy aircraft into the defensive and into the waiting arms of either the F-32B, the VTOL version from the amphibious carriers, or the C, the Catabar version from its own carrier, and the F-32 C and Bs, using their low observable features, really decimate the enemy formation that remains. The Tomcat, after doing its BVR role, will disengage and then re-engage with its AIM-9X and its cannon to pick up any stragglers as required. It needs to retain a high energy state because it doesn't have thrust vectoring like the F-32. Now, my Mantellas also need to retain a high energy state because they don't have thrust vectoring, but they do have canards. But by retaining the high energy state, by operating as a team, using these long range BVR shots, the idea is that this Hyper Tomcat dominates. So, highway to the Super Cruise. I've got one more of these to do with the internal weapons bay. That's kind of the hardest bit. I've done that just using a plasticard underneath and fairing it in there. I think it's come out okay. This is the Hobbyboss Tomcat, which is okay. It can only really be built in a landed configuration because it comes with the front landing gear doors already out, but it's not bad. It's quite a nice fit. And I've airbrushed this where I can. The only parts that I've painted by hand is around the cockpit canopy. I've taken off all the aerials and done those with modern style aerials. You'll notice on the F-22 and the Mantella, there's very little in the way of aerials, and especially on the F-32. And that is again for, this isn't a stealth aircraft, but it has radar cross-section reduction measures. Take care. Goodbye.